All right, so welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 8744. So today, guys, I'm going to do my weekend preview, guys, for this weekend. So we have a lot of good games this weekend. So let's start with the first game, which we have here, guys. It is Rennes versus Lille. Now, I think this is a huge game for both teams because Lille this season have had a an underwhelming start, to say the least. Now, I think they have been better than last season. Obviously with the Champions League. So this season they're putting a lot more focus on the league. Go all for this thing. And for Rennes, this is also a big game for them because, as you guys can see, the league table, both the teams are one place apart. And with the way how Lens and Marseille, Monaco have been functioning, it's difficult to really see these teams go above these teams respectively. And I feel as though that one of these teams is going to get European football. One of these teams is going to get it, and not both. And so I feel like if you're a Rennes supporter, you need this dub. You need this win here because you're looking at Lille in particular. With Jonathan David out for a long period of time, Rennes should honestly have enough to win this because you're looking at the likes of Gori, Ikambi. The thing for Lille is that I think Timothy Weah, he can bring in that goal scoring thing. But as we see with the U.S. men's national, because I watch U.S. 17 a lot, and I know what Timothy Weah is capable of doing, is that he is a good player, but he's not a consistent goal scorer. And I don't really know if he's that guy. And as well as the fact they're playing this bio guy who's, I don't think is that great. And I just feel like for me, this is a very winnable game for Rennes. So I'm going to go with Rennes to win this. And I think Rennes should win this. I'm going to go Rennes to win 2-0. And yeah, to potentially get the Europa League and Europa Conference spot. Now we have is the Milan Derby. The Milan Derby, guys. This is a fiercely derby. And the thing about this derby in particular is that Milan is coming into such a wretched poor form. Milan is coming into this game in terrible form. I mean, they just lost 5-2 to Sassuolo at home. This is embarrassing. They've conceded 18 goals in the last couple of games. This is coming out at a really bad time for Milan. They also did just lose to Torino in the Coppa Italia as well to make things worse. And the thing is, Inter, as much as they should be favorites, they themselves have also been kind of poor as well. They lost to Empoli at home. Then they just about won against Cremonese, the worst team in the league, on the road. It's a really mid-off, guys. Honestly, guys, this derby is not going to be as exciting as it was in the first time around. So actually, let's look at the win. Let's look at the win probably. Inter's win expected to win is 48, draws 27, and Milan's 25. Let's go read this. This will be the 178th Serie A derby between Inter and Milan. Inter have won 67, Milan 54. And against no other side have the Rossoneri lost more top-flight matches, level with Juventus. Whilst Inter have drawn their most games against a single side versus Milan in the competition. Milan have won their last two Serie A derbies against Inter and could win 3-0 for the first time since between November 2002 and February 2004, 4 in a row. After their 3-2 victory in the reverse fixture, Milan could win both of the Serie A meetings against Inter in the season for the first time since 2010-2011 campaign under Massimiliano Allegri. How poetic, man! How poetic. Inter have lost their last two Serie A home derbies against Milan. Both won to as many defeats as they had in the previous 16 such games beforehand. No side has conceded fewer home goals in Inter and Serie A this season, level with Roma. In addition, only Napoli have gained more points in Inter home matches so far in 2020-2023 competition, 24 and 10 games. Guys, Milan defensively looked shambolic. I don't know what happened to Tomori. I don't know what's happened to Calabria. Obviously Gabia started against Sassuolo and he was garbage. Theo Hernandez, as good as he is defensively, he's not great. This Milan team is just horrible at the moment. The only saving grace I can see with this team is Rafael Leao. And Milan, guys, they're in a serious fight to maybe not get top four because you look at the league table right now. They're fifth right now in the league table, guys, 38 points. And this top four race is going to be very interesting because forget the title. The title is done, guys. The title is done. Now it's a top four race because we have Inter competing, we have Lazio competing, Atalanta competing, Milan competing, and Roma competing. There are five teams competing, and four of these teams will get Europa League. Three of these teams will get Champions League, and two will miss out. I'm not going to even entertain the thought of Udinese. They're not going to compete. And so for me, it's between these five teams, and three of which are obviously going to get Champions League. And the funny thing is, the only team that's really guaranteed Champions League next season is Napoli. Every other team is going to have to fight for their position. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm really curious to see how Inter does in this game. I'm looking at the likes of DeMarco. I'm looking at the likes of Lautaro Martinez. I'm looking at the likes of, obviously, Lukaku as well, who's been really struggling. And for Milan in particular, man, they have to improve significantly because this could be embarrassing for them, especially against their biggest rivals and the San Siro. This could be very embarrassing. I think the bigger question is whether it's not necessarily will Inter win. I think that's almost a certainty in my opinion. It's more of how many will Inter score. But I do have to keep things noted here, guys. I do want to say this before I move on to the next game, that this is a derby. And anything can happen in a derby. We have seen crazy stuff before, guys. There's a lot of crazy things that happen in a derby, and form does go out the window. So who knows? Maybe Milan might actually be able to get a draw or even win this game. Do I think they're going to win? I definitely don't think so. Do I think they could draw? Potentially, I could see a draw, but there's no way they're winning. There is no way they're winning. I'm going to go with Inter to win. I'm going to go I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. I think this will be a close game just because I don't think Inter have been that great. I'm going to go with Inter to win 2-0 at the San Siro. I think this will be a close game for most of the game, but I just think Inter will just be clinical with their attack, and I think Milan will just have defensive lapse of concentration, and I think Inter will just keep it professional and win the game 2-0. So that is my score prediction for that game. Okay? I know I spent a lot of time on this game, but it's for a good reason, man. It's a derby after all. We have to talk about it, man. Next one is the Bundesliga, guys. So let's quickly touch upon the Bundesliga. As you guys can see, the table is insane, guys. Bayern Munich, man. Is there a possibility that Bayern don't win this league? Maybe I'm getting too excited. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. And I probably am. We'll talk about Bayern in a bit later because they're going to also be playing their weekend game. But I specifically want to talk about Dortmund and Freiburg here because we have a very, very good race for top four and for the title race this season. Because let's face it, guys, Bayern will get top four. That's pretty much guaranteed. I would say Leipzig is also guaranteed, and Union Berlin isn't quite guaranteed yet. I think Union Berlin isn't guaranteed, but I think Leipzig is guaranteed and Bayern's guaranteed. And so now you have two more. You have two more spots. Union Berlin's going to fight for it. Dortmund's going to fight for it. Freiburg is going to fight for it. Frankfurt's going to fight for it, and Wolfsburg. I don't think Gladbach and Leverkusen is good enough, although they are close. In the table, I do feel as though they're not going to have enough. And so I feel like for me, we have a very, very good battle here. And the thing about this one is that there's also a title race, as you guys can see, with the point margin. But I will specifically talk about the title race when we talk about the Bayern and Wolfsburg game, which we'll get into next after this. I just think that for me, guys, the important thing to note is how will Dortmund do? Because I think the bigger question is can Dortmund remain consistent? Because they got a 2-0 win away at Leverkusen, which is a very difficult ground for any team, and they were able to, keep a clean sheet there, which I didn't expect they would. And Adeyemi scored his first goal for Dortmund, which is really, really good for them. As for Freiburg, they're coming into this game in great form as well. I believe they just won. Actually, let me just double check. I forgot which team they played against. They just won against Augsburg, 3-1. I think the players to look out for Freiburg are obviously we have to keep an eye upon. They're Ritsu Doan, one of the best World Cup youngsters of the World Cup. We had to keep an eye upon him. He's been great. Roland Salali has been good. Matthias Ginter. You look at Christian Gunter as well. Gritzo, Jiang Wu Yang. This Freiburg team will give Dortmund a big challenge. That being said, I do expect Dortmund to win this game, and I do expect Dortmund to win. I just think that, for me, Dortmund's finally getting that good run of form, and I think they should win this game. And if they do win this game, they're in a great position. So 58% to win, 23 draw, 19% Freiburg. So I'm going to go with Dortmund to win. Actually, before we actually give our prediction, let's go look at the timeline for this one. So Borussia Dortmund only lost one of their 22 Bundesliga home games against Freiburg in October 2021. 2001, since then, they've only drawn points, 1 from 14 Bundesliga home games against a 2-2 in January 2018. Bayern's longest ongoing beat and run against Dortmund. Top flight side against Freiburg. Dortmund have a higher win percentage and points per game against Freiburg than any other current top flight side. And they could do the league double over Freiburg for the first time since 18-19 season. Dortmund and Union Berlin are the only two sides that won all three of their Bundesliga games in the 2023. BBB last started a calendar year with 4 straight league wins. 2012, and they won the domestic flight. They also began 2020 with the top flight wins in a row, including 5-1 win over Freiburg, but then lost 5-2 against Leverkusen. Freiburg got picked up 34 points from 18 Bundesliga games this season. Their best return since 3 points for a win was introduced. Borussia Dortmund unbeaten in the 6 Bundesliga home games. They've never gone longer without a defeat at home under Edin Terzic. But yeah, I think Dortmund's gonna win. I think Dortmund's gonna win, and I'm gonna say Dortmund wins. I'll say Dortmund wins 3-1. I'll say 3 goals to 1, guys. I'll say 3 goals to 1. I think Giorena's going to go on the score sheet. I think Eddie Emi's going to score, and I have a feeling Sebastian Haller. And I think for Freiburg, I'm going to say Ritsu Doan scores. And now we have the game that I want to speak about a lot. Bayern Munich, guys. Is there a chance that Bayern don't win this league? Now, as I said before, maybe I'm getting too excited. Maybe I'm being a bit too optimistic. And I probably am. Which is why I haven't even made a video about this. Because what's going to happen is Bayern's going to find a run of games and they're going to win these games consistently. Because the thing with Bayern is that they can drop as many points as they'd like. But are we really certain that Union Berlin and Leipzig, even Dortmund to some extent, are going to win the games that they need to win? Because that's the bigger question for Bayern, is that it's not necessarily will they win the league. It's more so what the point margin is going to be. Because I think it's going to be a lot more closer than it was in previous seasons. And Wolfsburg, man, they're a great team. I mean, they just beat Freiburg. And they also beat Gladbach as well. So they're coming into this game in great form, guys. Great form coming into this game. Now, they did just lose to Union Berlin, but that was in the DB Pokal, and they did lose to Werder Bremen. Oh, sorry, they beat Hertha Berlin. Sorry, not Union Berlin, but still, it's impressive. 11 goals, man, that's insane. They're coming into this one in good form, and obviously, you know, their former coach, the current Wolfsburg coach is Niko Kovac, and we know how Bayern fans have memories of him, man. Bayern has 61% to win, Dual is 20%, Wolfsburg is 19%. So let's actually look at the timeline here. FC Bayern München's win percentage of points per game are both better against Wolfsburg than against any other current side. Okay, Bayern have scored each of the last 29 games against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg picked up 13 of possible 15 points in the last 5 home games. Bayern have failed to win their first 3 Bundesliga games of the calendar year for the first time since 2007. And Bayern have 37 points from 18 games, the lowest return from a team sitting top of the Bundesliga at this stage for 11 years. Wow, that is incredible. That is incredible. So, and also look at this, guys. Let me show you guys this last little bit right here. Back in 2011-2012, FCB also had 37 points in this stage as Dortmund went on to win the league the last time a team other than Bayern has left to the title. Guys, it gets real here for Bayern. It gets real because I actually want to look at Bayern's fixtures before you even talk about this game. Because you look at Bayern's fixtures, right? Let's just look at quickly. Let's just look at February games and March games. Actually, let's just look at February for now. So they're gonna have Wolfsburg away, then they're gonna be playing Bochum at home, and then Gladbach away, and then Union Berlin at home. These 4 games, because I'm looking at the next couple of games that they could maybe draw points. Because let's be real, they should beat Bochum. Now Union Berlin could be tricky, but you would still expect them to beat Union Berlin. Although if Union Berlin could get a draw or even beat them, because I think Union Berlin did actually get a draw against Bayern in the reverse fixture, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously, Gladbach, they should be beating. I mean, I know it's their bogey team, but they got Sommer now, so they should be fine. And then that Wolfsburg. So I think it's going to come. I think this league is I think if Bayern can win those away games, like Wolfsburg, Gladbach, Leverkusen, then I think they're in a good position. I think they're in a great position. Because the thing with this Wolfsburg team is that they're a very quality team, right? They have some great players. I want to look at some of the players. Like, I'm looking at players like Maxime Lacrosse, Kevin Paredes, USMNT guy. I'm happy for him, of course. They got Jonas Wind, that's also been very, very crucial. They got Maximilian Arnold. These players have been great. Felix Nimicha has been great as well. And I feel like this Wolfsburg team can cause Bayern a lot of issues. They honestly really can. Now, Bayern are coming off a huge 4-0 away win against Mainz in the DFB Pokal, so that might instill some confidence. But it is the DFB Pokal, and the DFB Pokal in the league is very different. So for this game, guys, it's a very tricky game to call. I think Bayern Munich, for me, they have to stop experimenting. I think Joe Nagelsmann, you have to play your best 11. And I want to see how Cancelo can do against Wolfsburg. This is a very tricky game, guys. A very, very tricky game. And I was even tempted to pick a draw for this game. But I ended up going Bayern to win this. And I think Bayern is going to win this. I'm going to say they win this 1-0. I think they're going to win this 1-0 on the road. And I think they're going to grind out this win. And I have a feeling Choupo-Moting is going to score the game-winning goal to give Bayern a massive 3 points. So we're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see what happens. And then finally, the final game we have here. The Premier League, guys. The last game we have. It is Spurs versus Man City. Now, this is a crucial game for Spurs and Man City. Obviously for Spurs and their attempt to try to get top 4 this season, although it's looking really rough for them at the moment. And for obviously Man City, this is also a huge game for them. And of course, their title aspirations. Because you look at the league table and that even though there are 5 points behind, Arsenal do have a game in hand. So that is very, very Important to note there, as you guys can see, Arsenal's on 50 points, Man City's on 45. So Man City's expected wins 55, draw is 23, Tottenham is 22. Let's go look at this insights real quick. Tottenham lost 4-2 against Man City in the reverse fixture last month, last losing both league meetings with Citizens in 2018-2019. Manchester City have lost 3 away league games against Tottenham by aggregate score of 5-0, only twice in Premier League. They lost 4 rather than scoring away against an opponent. Dang, Tottenham have lost 4 of the last 5 Premier League home games. The first time they lost as many 5-game spells since August-November 2014. They have also lost the last 2 at home, last losing 3-0 in 2008. Tottenham conceded at least twice in each of the last 5 Premier League home meetings. Last conceded 2+ goals or more consecutive home games in September and November 1988. They've also conceded the first goal each of the 5 games. Manchester City have lost 2 of the last 5 Premier League away games, as many as the previous 37 on the road. They lost back-to-back away league games in August 2020, the second of which was at Tottenham. See, the thing is, Man City is kind of cursed of this stadium, guys. The thing is, Man City is kind of cursed of the stadium, and they generally don't do very well. But this Spurs team just looks tragic. Defensively, they look shambolic. They're looking so tragic. Now, the good news for, obviously, Spurs is that Porro, they signed, so that should help with their defensive right-back situation. You know, assure the defense, because obviously we know Emerson Royale is garbage defensively. And like I said, guys, I just feel like for me, City is going to win this. Tottenham just don't look great this season. And I think the key for City to win this is how will the likes of Erling Haaland and KDB turn up? Because I'm going to say this right now. If KDB and Haaland doesn't turn up, Man City is not winning this. Now, if they two do turn up, then they will win. So it depends on the two. I'm going to say Man City is going to win this. I'm going to say Man City is going to win this 2-1. I think this will be a much more closer game than the one at the Etihad, but I still expect City to give a professional response, and I still expect City to win this. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below, because like I said, guys, this is a huge game, and I could maybe see Spurs getting a point or even win this game. But I do expect City to win, of course, because like I said, Tottenham have not been great this season. But then again, they're a Carson Stadium, so what am I know for? You know, I might be jinxing them. But anyways, I think that's gonna be it for today. So I hope you guys did enjoy this this weekend preview. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, guys. If you made it this far, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. It really does mean a lot for this channel. And of course, if you're new out here, and also consider becoming a member of the channel and check out me and my other podcasts, description below. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.